Shout out to our brother Gervonta, our sister Kelly, and everyone else who sent this story in. We have to head over to New Mexico. There's an incident that's bringing attention to New Mexico State University and its basketball team. A chain of events that took the life of one student from another university, while a college basketball player is now in the hospital undergoing multiple surgeries and got the news that he was suspended indefinitely from the basketball team while they're waiting for the results of the investigation. A talented player's future is up in the air, and the local media in New Mexico doing some dirty reporting, attempting to highlight multiple players and coaches on the team to implicate them when none of them are responsible. In fact, reporters like Ms. Rosemary Montes are more concerned with hounding the coach, his staff, and the rest of the team than talking to everyone surrounding the girl who set all of this up, along with the student who lost his life and two other guys. We're going to get into all of this, but first, take a second to make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Click the notification bell for all updates. If you're watching from New Mexico, let us know below in the comments. Mike Peake is a talented college basketball player from Chicago. When he graduated from high school, he went to school in Athens, Georgia, playing for the Georgia Bulldogs his freshman year. His sophomore year, he played at Austin Peay State University in Clarksville, Tennessee, before transferring to New Mexico State University to play his junior and now senior year. He ended up having a run-in with another student who attended another college in New Mexico 3 hours away. His name was Brandon Travis. Brandon Travis, 19 years old, from Inglewood, California. He played football in high school and accepted an academic scholarship to attend the University of New Mexico when he graduated from high school in 2021. Brandon Travis was a member of the student organization Brothers Leading and Cultivating Knowledge. That organization supports Black male students in their academic, personal, and professional goals through volunteering and community engagement. On October 15, 2022, two college rivals met in Las Cruces for a football game. That's the University of New Mexico versus New Mexico State University. Brandon Travis was at the game supporting his school, UNM, and basketball player Mike Peake, he was also at the game supporting the football team at his school, NMSU. NMSU ended up winning that game, and at that game, the two guys got into a brawl that broke out. Brandon Travis was losing the fight, ended up falling down. Eventually, one of his friends helped him up. After that fight, Brandon Travis was so upset, he traveled back 3 hours to his school in Albuquerque and started plotting revenge on Mike Peake. Brandon wanted payback for losing the fight. Then there's Maya Hill, a 17-year-old freshman at UNM, the same school that Brandon Travis attended. She started talking to Mike Peake romantically. Maya planned to meet up with Mike when the basketball team traveled to Albuquerque a few weeks later to play her school's basketball team. Mike was under the impression that he would meet up with Maya at her dorm to have relations, but Maya had something else in mind. You see, Maya was also a friend of Brandon Travis. Brandon Travis plotting revenge against Mike. He reached out to Maya to help him set up Mike, and at this time it's unclear how Maya met Mike Peake. Did she reach out to Mike and started talking to him as a part of the setup and knew all along what her intentions were? Or did she meet Mike first and was later recruited by Brandon to join the plan? That's something that wasn't revealed yet. So on November 18th, 2022, the NMSU men's basketball team left Las Cruces and headed to Albuquerque for their game scheduled the next day against UNM. The team made the 3-hour trip via bus. The head coach, Greg Heyer, who just made his debut as a Division I coach this year with NMSU, before he was at Northwest Florida. He did a great job there and was offered a better job. It was a great opportunity for him to be a head coach for a Division I team for the first time, and he took it. He was also taking over a good team with players like Mike Peake and Avery, helping the team win the 2022 Western Atlantic Conference Championship.
I just wanted to put together the best roster that we possibly could put together, and it really helped to have Mike Peake and Chi Avery come back, who played good minutes on, a championship team last year, and were coached by Coach Jans, and just kind of, you can tell they've been coached by Coach Jans, and they understand how to work and what it's all about.
Coach Heyer had a 12 o'clock midnight curfew, so at midnight, assistant coach Dominique Taylor and other coaches conducted room checks at the DoubleTree Hotel where the team was staying. At that time, it was reported that all of the players were in their rooms. An hour and a half later at 1:36 a.m., Mike Peake snuck out of the hotel and ordered a Lyft ride that was scheduled to arrive at its destination on the UNM campus at 1:51 a.m., where he met up with Maya. Meanwhile, Maya was with Brandon Travis and two other UNM students in Brandon's dorm room, waiting to meet up with Mike. She told Mike that she was going to have relations with him, and an hour later, around 3 a.m., Mike was walking with Maya near a dormitory on campus. That's when Brandon Travis and two of his friends, Jonathan Smith and Elijah Upshaw, snuck up behind Mike Peake and confronted him. According to Jonathan Smith, one of the three men, it was Upshaw who hit Mike with a baseball bat. Mike fell to the ground. When Mike got up, he started running. Brandon Travis fired a gun at Mike several times, striking him in the leg. Mike had protection on him, so he pulled out his weapon to protect himself, shooting back at Brandon Travis, hitting him 4 times, twice in the chest, once in the scrotum, and once in the arm. Brandon's friends who came with him to beat up Mike, Elijah Upshaw and Jonathan Smith, they ran away from the scene after Jonathan called 911 and threw his phone under a car. They went into a residence hall where they changed clothes, got into Jonathan's car, and the two guys drove to a nearby lake, dumping their clothes in a sewer drain. They then went back to the crime scene and stood in the crowd of people that gathered around Brandon Travis while police attempted to help him. But unfortunately, Brandon passed away on site.
When I heard a student crying out in pain.
At around 3 in the morning on Saturday, police respond to a shooting on the University of New Mexico's campus.
I walked over to him and I saw that he had been shot in the leg.
They say 2 students were shot, one a 19-year-old from UNM and the other a 21-year-old from New Mexico State University.
When I got there, I just stayed with him. I gave him my jacket. I gave him some warm heating pads.
Joseph Mann is a UNM student himself, and he says he saw the aftermath.
I tried not to panic because the guy looked like he was having the worst pain he's ever experienced.
That NMSU student was taken to the hospital.
Unfortunately, he was a student athlete, like I said. All I heard him say was how much pain he was in and the fact that this is a career-ending injury for him.
Joseph told us he had no idea about the 19-year-old who died until he got up to his dorm.
One of my roommates, friends, told me that if you look outside the window, you can see another incident of shooting right outside in Coronado parking lot.
The investigation still ongoing, while the students on campus still in shock.
Fear, anxiety, just a lot of people's first time seeing this, and it's just unfortunate.
Now, we are still working to confirm the names of the 2 students who were shot, and we're going to continue to keep you updated on this investigation, but New Mexico State Police say there's no current active threat to this community.
As for Mike Peake, he was seen on video picking up his tablet to meet up with 3 of his teammates and a woman who was driving a yellow Camaro. He placed his gun and tablet in the trunk of the car, and moments later, Mike was transported to the UNM hospital. The next morning, the state police went to the DoubleTree Hotel. By then, the head coach had already been in contact with the athletic director, who briefed him on how they will handle the situation. The AD said the game was going to get canceled so the team could head back to the campus. The state police questioned the coach about the yellow Camaro. Coach Heyer told the officer that they traveled there in a bus. He had no clue about a yellow Camaro. The police told the coach that they wanted to speak to the 3 players that they saw in the Camaro. The coach basically told them no, he had to speak with the AD first and see if the players needed attorneys. The head coach didn't think it was a good idea, considering the police had no warrant and the guys didn't have a lawyer.
I mean, we're about these student athletes, and I'm worried about my wife and daughter. Just, being at the game and a student is shot. People say the Mexico State basketball player shot a student. That's not going to go over well in front of 15,000 people. You know what I mean? Like, this is about the safety of everybody. And that's where I'm at. I mean, if this Mike's going to have a long road ahead of him no matter what.
Right.
I mean, but he may never play basketball second again for me ever again. I mean, that's just the reality. So I need to protect the rest of my team and the rest of our people while you guys are investigation and while we're, there's a reason why the hospital doesn't let us go over there and call, because there's an ongoing investigation and they don't want us to speak to them.
The officers went on a hunt, calling everybody on the basketball team and all of the coaches, looking for the tablet, Mike's cell phone, and his gun. While in the hospital, Mike cooperated with them and told the officers that he placed the items in the trunk of the Camaro. The tablet and the gun left the city with the players on the bus. So the state police contacted the school police, who got the bus to pull over on the interstate. That's where the team handed over those items. They didn't give up Mike's cell phone though. Somebody ended up giving the phone to one of the school's administrators when they got back to the campus, and that's where officers collected the phone. 2 days later after the incident, police arrested Maya Hill. That's the girl who set up Mike Peak. And a day later after her arrest, Jonathan Smith was arrested. That's one of the guys that was with Brandon Travis, a part of the setup. The third man who was in on the setup, Elijah Upshaw, his statements are not public. He ended up getting an attorney. As for the 3 basketball players, Mike's teammates, who showed up the night of the incident in the yellow Camaro, the media wrote an article leaking those players' names the same day of their basketball game. The team ended up suspending those guys for 1 game, but announced that Mike was suspended indefinitely. The local media, they've been having a field day with this one, continuously covering the story as if Mike Peak was a suspect, as if he should be punished. Especially this one right here, Rosemary Montiez, one of those feminists out there in the past doing silly reports as a pretend firefighter for a day.
After a quick lesson, I was ready to take off. And then came the moment of truth, getting over the ledge and letting go.
I'm so scared.
But the biggest challenge, the first drop, relying only on the harness and my body to do the rest of the work.
Now I can go down.
You can go down.
But side note, they never made her pick up a body because of course she can't do it. She just wanted to show females going through fire school or something. But yeah, Rosemary, I've been noticing what you're doing here, and I know no one else is going to call you out for this, but you're out of order, ma'am. She's basically reporting this in a way where she's indicting the whole basketball team, including the coaches. She's up there at the press conference held by Coach Heyer. He told her that he wasn't talking about that incident. Then she continued to ask him the same question over and over, like a moron, as if she was going to make him answer a question or try to force a reaction out of him.
Able to comment because of the ongoing investigation.
You can't tell us anything about what happened that day. The report said you all left while the investigation was still happening. That's why NM State Police had to come get you guys.
I can't comment. It's an ongoing investigation.
Nothing on the gun, other players allegedly helping Peak.
I can't comment.
You think it should have happened sooner, knowing that he had broken the curfew, knowing he had a gun on a college campus?
Like I said, that's up to administration, and I'll leave it at that.
There's nothing else that you can comment on regarding the report that was released tonight by KOAT. The fact that one of the assistant head coach had the gun in a towel in the hotel room.
I can't comment.
What about Peak leaving in a yellow Camaro and 3 of the players assisting?
I can't comment.
Thank you, guys.
Are you concerned about how this is going to look on NMSU?
Yeah, listen, Rosemary, and the other local media talking heads out there, Mike Peak was a victim, not a suspect. That girl and those 3 guys set him up. He did not come on campus to have a shootout. He came on campus to meet the girl and have relations. The 4 of them set him up and they attacked him. Brandon Travis pulled out the gun first and shot Mike. He just didn't know that Mike could shoot back and had better aim. Mike Peak is the victim here, not the suspect. He's at the hospital, had to undergo multiple surgeries. This is his senior year. He's basically not returning to the team. And this could definitely be it for him as far as basketball. Who knows what's ahead of him? Just so much uncertainty right now. And then the people like Rosemary, they have all the smoke for the players, Coach Hire, the assistant coaches, but they have nothing to say about this girl that lured him there, along with Brandon Travis and his friends that set up Mike. And as it relates to Maya, the way it's being covered, it's like she wasn't even there. Oh yeah, by the way, she tried to tell this big lie. When the police first talked to her about the crime that she committed, she told them that she did not know any of the guys that ran up on Mike that night. Detectives had to tell her that they knew she was lying, and that's when she started telling a different story.
I thought they were just gonna jump him. Nobody was supposed to die. Nobody was even supposed to get shot. The plan was that they just wanted to jump him just to get their point across to state.
Nobody was supposed to die. Nobody was even supposed to get shot.
And no, ma'am, you did not know anybody was going to get shot, but you did know that he was going to get attacked, and you admitted to that. You set Mike up, and that's why they charged Maya with conspiracy and aggravated assault. And something tells me that she started talking to Mike back in October after that fight, knowing that she was setting him up the whole time with Brandon. And yes, Maya was arrested, but guess where they took her? They took her to juvie. Now, we all know if this had been a 17-year-old black boy, he would have gone to adult jail, charged as an adult, thrown in the lion's cage for all the wolves. I mean, they charge 10-year-old black boys, 15-year-old black boys every day as adults. But they get this college freshman, soon to be 18 years old, charge her as a juvenile. And please, no one can argue about this. We can pull up case after case in multiple states, just pick one, of 17-year-old criminals being charged as adults. But this time, this one is able to go to juvie, which means nothing will happen to her at all, and she's probably back at school already. Who knows? It's amazing. And then Brandon Travis. His family is blaming the police for the incident.
Good evening. Tonight, the family of the UNM student killed on campus Saturday is demanding answers.
Brandon Travis's parents say their son should have been flying home for Thanksgiving this week. Instead, they're planning his funeral. They want to know why police didn't intervene when they had the chance weeks before. Investigators say their son was involved in a shootout.
Respected, well-mannered, and helpful. That's how Brandon Travis's family describe him in a statement tonight. They say their son has many accolades and accomplishments. The 19-year-old was a 2021 graduate from Inglewood High School in California, where he played football. His parents say he came to UNM in August on an academic scholarship. He was also a member of the student organization Brothers Leading and Cultivating Knowledge, which supports African American men in their academic, personal, and professional pursuits through volunteerism and community engagement. His family stating his death could have been prevented. They blame a fight at the NMSU UNM game in Las Cruces last month involving Travis and NMSU basketball player Mike Peak. The Travis family says the viral video shows Travis in the fetal position, repeatedly kicked and punched. While standing nearby, an officer did not do enough to stop the attack. NMSU leadership today saying they saw the video about a week after it happened and passed it on to campus police.
Clearly, we did not necessarily think that that video or the fight was particularly significant. Obviously, hindsight is 2020. What I meant by that was it was not addressed by the police at that time. There was no case number, there was no arrests, there was nothing to that degree.
A little more than a month after this fight, police say Travis and 3 others lured Peak to the UNM campus to jump him, seeking revenge. Police say Travis shot at Peak and Peak returned fire, killing Travis.
And you know, I agree that when the fight took place, the security at the game had a duty to protect the students, break up the fight, restore order. But this second situation is not anybody's fault except for Brandon and his buddies who planned this attack. But of course, it's got to be somebody else's fault. Brandon passed away trying to set somebody else up, and we're all supposed to tiptoe around reality. The reality here is Brandon should have let this crap go after the fight back in October, but he wanted revenge. He hooked up with Maya to help him get revenge on Mike because they knew that he could easily be lured by a female, promising relations, and it was Brandon who was the mastermind of the entire plan and executed it with the help of Maya, Elijah, and Jonathan. And I don't want to hear about whatever black men's group that he was a part of or how smart he was. He set this man up, but he had no clue what he was coming up against. It's unfortunate but true. Because Brandon wanted revenge, you have so many lives damaged by this. For one, Brandon is gone. And then Mike Peake, his teammates who showed up to the scene, that by the way really had nothing to do with this. And I wish they had stayed at the hotel. Still though, they are not an accessory to anything because Mike Peake did not commit a crime. The only thing that Mike did was violate curfew. And yes, the team should punish him for that. But Mike Peake did not commit a crime. What he did was defend himself. Like, I don't understand what people expected for him to do. Was he just supposed to lay up there and let them take him out? No, Mike ran away, and that's when Travis shot him in the leg, so he shot back. It's called self-defense. Brandon Travis had no business pulling out that gun. He's the one who pulled it out, and now we have to feel bad because Mike Peake pulled out his gun too? No, that's the lesson here. You win some and you lose some. Brandon's loss should have remained at that football game that day, but he wanted round 2 and ultimately lost again, this time his life. It's horrible. And then a lesson from Mike Peake and other young men, athletes or not, whoever. Never, ever, ever trust 304s. I don't care who she is or where she's from. Never, ever trust her. I can literally show you a story like this every hour of the day of young black men getting set up by other black men, and they almost always, every single time, enlist a woman to help carry out the plan. They have to use that woman to get the man there in the first place. The next thing you know, 2-3 dudes coming out the window, busting through the front door, running up on your car. It's the oldest game in the book. Mike Peake, you had no business out that lake trying to get with that girl. Coach Hire gave you a curfew for a reason. It's the reason why they don't want y'all mingling with civilians. I remember when the rapper Takeoff lost his life out in Houston. Days after that, Coach Prime and his JSU squad had to go to Houston to play Texas Southern. Coach Prime told them guys, you're not going anywhere. You're not hanging out in the city. He told them, I don't care who want to see you. Tell your parents to come to the hotel because y'all are not going anywhere this weekend.
Takeoff was murdered in a dice game in Houston, where we're going. So that eliminates all y'all leaving that hotel because it ain't happening until I give you further notice. So whatever her name is, whoever she is, parents, everybody, they're gonna come to the hotel to visit you because y'all ain't leaving. Sooner or later, we gotta start changing our addresses, guys. That's an analogy to saying, I know we this, but we ain't that. We gotta leave that behind that we once did. So get that in your spirit. I'm sad because it just seems like it's always us. But we want to say we matter. We want to say we keep it in 100, but it's always us. Now we lose another soldier to some bull junk that when we look back at it, the gentleman gonna say, dang, now his whole life changes. Because now he's incarcerated or murdered in a consequence of what transpired. Because you know how the game is played.
You see, that's called protection. That's called leadership. What a lot of younger people don't understand is that the people that's leading them, they don't make up these rules just to irritate you or tell you what to do. These rules are in place to protect you, to protect your teammates, to protect the coaching staff, to protect the brand. That's why Coach Hire told Mike Peake and his teammates to be in the room by midnight. And he was being lenient with them. You know, Coach Prime is the type to tell them they're not going anywhere. And some people, especially the ones raised without a father, they don't like those strict rules. But either way, I hope these guys understand the purpose of curfew. Coach Hire didn't tell you to be in the room by midnight just to say it. It was like a domino effect. All of this happening all because Mike Peake didn't follow the rule. There is nothing good going on at 3 a.m. in the morning. Half the time you're going to run into trouble. And you know, the guys that's older than them by 2 or 3 times, they understand it already. And that's what they're trying to teach them. They already know it's going to be 1,100 Maya circling you. especially if any of them make it to the pros. There's going to be 10,000 Maya circling you, not to mention the 50,000 Brandon's trying to set you up. You know, this is just a horrible story all around. I hate that Brandon did what he did. He had a good life ahead of him. I also don't like what happened to Mike Peake. I don't like all the other young people involved in this incident. Maya is the least likely to be punished, but I hope she's never involved in anything like this again. It's a very dangerous situation, and women should not sign up to be involved in this type of activity. She should have told Brandon, if you want to get Mike, you have to get him yourself. Don't involve me. But hey, let's go ahead and get the conversation started. Why is it that Rosemary and her local news station, they're trying to paint the picture to the public that Mike Peake is a suspect and not the victim? It's like she's actively campaigning for Coach Hire and all his coaches to lose their jobs. When I believe in this situation, they handled it the way it was supposed to be handled. Special thank you to our brother Joseph W. from the DMV. I appreciate you. As well as Aisha Kiba. Thank you so much for your contribution. Tyrone W., William, Dark Power, Jarvis, and Chad. Don't forget that you can support this channel as well. Links to Cash App and PayPal are below. Ladies, fellas, want a balanced analysis, want the truth from a woman's perspective? Then you're going to want to subscribe to this channel and don't forget to like and share.